What's up, everyone? Today's video is about one of my favorite players on tour, Ali Farag. In the most recent US Open, Ali Farag ended up playing Joel Macon, and for those of you who have watched the tournament, which I'm guessing is all of you, Joel Macon took Ali Farag out in a pretty epic 3-love win. So that got me thinking, what does it take to beat Ali Farag? So in this video, I'm going to share with you a winning formula. It's not the only winning formula, but it is something that I noticed about the way Joel Macon played, and then on the flip side, about how Ali Farag played. So check it out. The first thing that I saw that Joel Macon did really, really well, and this is what he's renowned for, was his fitness, his movement, his relentless pressure. He was pushing up, he was looking to volley a lot. He was not being passive. So Ali Farag loves to push up on the tee and then take control of the game. Joel Macon actually stepped up on the tee and looked to volley a lot. Joel Macon also attacked the front of the court a lot. The thing that I noticed Joel Macon do, which he has not done before, is use holds. And the hold and the changing of angle is extremely effective against Ali Farag, who is a player who likes to poach or cheat over a little bit on the tee after he's hit a good shot, which rightfully every player does. Ali Farag has a tendency, in my opinion, to do it a little bit more. He likes to hedge his bets, but he reads the game so well and he moves so well that he has the ability to do that and not get penalized for it excessively hard. And when I say that, I mean not by a referee. I mean he doesn't lose the point right away because he can recover his movement. So Joel Macon was crazy with his pressure, really good with the movement, stepping up and volleying a lot. He was holding the ball. He was changing the angles. He was very accurate with his attacks. They were, for the most part, pretty sharp and crisp into the back, and his length was really tight. He squeezed Ali Farag several times in this match. But remember, not everything is one-sided, and Joel Macon played really, really well in my opinion, but Ali Farag clearly did not play his best squash. You know, you saw his attacks were not that crisp. They weren't as accurate into the front. He actually hardly won any points on outright winners into the front of the court. That's a sign that he wasn't quite on. He also didn't volley and step up on the tee as much and as often as he typically has been doing in recent times. Another sign that he wasn't quite on the mark. There were a couple of interesting things that happened near that, especially right at the end of the match, and I'm going to show you that as an example of kind of the fact that he wasn't fully there. Now, if you want to think about winning formulas, and this is the coaching aspect of it for you guys, what I'd encourage you to do is think about your strengths and your weaknesses. And that could be from a fitness side, it could be from a technical side in terms of, you know, what shot options do you have from different parts of the court. And then you need to make a decision about how you like to play and how you want to play. And I would encourage you to write this down so that you have set an intention for yourself before your match or before your practice, and then you obviously have to go and execute it consistently. Many layers involved with that. We're not getting into all of that. This is more about the structure and intention behind your sessions. So let's take an example. If you're quick laterally, you're good on the volley drop. Well, you might want to set your game up with focusing on really hunting a lot of volleys and playing long and then playing short. And if you have the ability to hold, you might want to show the short and then hit the long and play with those sorts of combinations. You probably, if you're very explosive, maybe your endurance isn't as high. So you really want to work on controlling that tee with those quick movements and working on ending the rallies sooner rather than later. That could be one way to just think about it, and then you would want to go practice that with various condition games, with different drills, etc. So let's get into the actual videos themselves, so the highlights, and I'm going to show you several rallies and then break down some of the details and the nuances of different rallies, highlighting all of the elements I mentioned that Joel Macon did really, really well, and some of the things that Ali Farag did not do that well. So let's get into it. This is the first rally of their match, and I drew a couple of lines to show you guys the tee position, and you'll notice that Joel Macon is consistently a foot or so in front of Ali Farag. The other thing you're going to notice is that, and I'm going to get into stats in a minute, but Joel Macon is really stepping up and hunting the ball. He's also not letting a ton of shots get into the back of the court, whereas Farag is a little bit further back in the court. More importantly than that, there are a couple of other things I'm going to mention, but I'm going to stay quiet while you watch the rest of this epic rally. And that third line just came in over there to show when Joel Macon stepped up even further up in the court. And you can just see the comparisons when the lines are there. So again, Macon hunting. Ali Farag playing that boast, which he's been using a ton of recently. There was a little example where Macon changed the angle on Farag. That was lack of awareness by Macon, and he hit the ball right back to Farag. Another change of angle, but not effective enough. Nice use of the kill. Forces the loose ball, changes the angle again. And that's a nice nick on the shot, on the drop shot. So now let's really break this rally down. It was 1 minute and 20 seconds, 57 shots between the two players, including the serve. That is the equivalent of 21.5 shots per minute. Either if you're ghosting, you could ghost 21.5 ghosts, so pretend you're hitting the ball 21.5 times throughout the court within a minute. That gives you an indication and a sense of the pace that these guys are playing at. And they played this match for an hour approximately. So imagine maintaining that kind of pace for a pretty long period of time. It gives you an indication of their true fitness levels. Now, the next lines that you see there are their shots hit or taken by Macon before the back wall. So this could be either something that he volleyed, or he played a 3/4 court off the bounce without letting it get to the back of the court. And Macon hit 16 balls that fit that criteria. Ali Farag hit 11. So that shows you just the mental intention by Joel Macon to step up, take the ball early, whether it's on the volley or before it hits the back wall. So it's giving Farag less time to settle on the tee, forcing Macon to work harder, but to push the pace a little bit that way as well. And the real thing is that, like I mentioned, this is rally 1 of the match. And the stats you see there, put in my mind, will have a significant impact on the mindset of Ali Farag. And Joel Macon for that matter. Joel Macon came out and he said, this is my game plan and I'm going to just go to work from the very beginning. That shows his mental strength. On the flip side, Ali Farag, and I'm not saying this phased him like crazy, but what I am saying is that if you go and put that sort of rally in from game 1, rally 1, imagine what your opponent might be thinking if they're not super mentally strong. Holy crap. This is what's in store for the rest of the match. I have to contend and deal with this for the rest of the match. It's going to start getting them to question themselves, their fitness, their abilities. They're going to start asking themselves questions like, what do I have to do to win a rally? Ali Farag is probably not thinking that in the first rally, but he might be thinking, okay, I really need to buckle down because this is going to be a long, hard match. So something to keep in mind over there. Now let's jump into the second rally that I want to show you guys. And this rally comes in at game ball in the first game. And you see Macon again stepping up and hunting the volley. Farag not super tight. Macon again staying on the tee. Putting nice short ball in, both of the guys in that situation actually. Nice and tight by Macon. Good defense by Farag. Again, nice tight shots down the wall. Nice little change by Macon, the boast by Farag, and that's a great angle on the cross by Macon. He attempts a hold, not quite there, under pressure. Changes the angle again over there. So this is what I want to show you. This is what Macon did really well. So watch this one here for a second. So look at Farag's position over here. And see, he knows that Macon's under pressure. Look how far he stepped across. His racket's getting ready to volley on the backhand. And Macon knows that Farag poaches or cheats in this situation. And as a result, he hits the cross. And he catches Farag super deep. And his cross is actually a high quality cross, which puts Farag under reverse pressure on the other side. Forcing the loose ball. Putting in a tight ball. Farag gets good width as well. Macon has him under pressure again. Another boast by Farag, another hold by Macon. So see, this is something that Macon, in my opinion, has not done a ton of in the past. So he comes in, shows the drop, and then accelerates. And see, Farag's movement is going in because Macon showed him the drop. And he hasn't done this too often in the past, which is why he's now broken a pattern. Farag normally will go in for that drop. He just broke the pattern. And you see Farag having to make a big adjustment and then go the other way. And Macon again, despite the hold, hit a pretty awesome target. And then what does that do? Forces another loose ball. And then Macon puts in the clinical finish on that one. So check this out. This rally was 50 seconds long, 38 shots in the rally. The pace was even faster than the first one. So this is the equivalent of 22 and a half ghosts or shots in a minute if you were to practice that. Obviously the rally was less than a minute, so it's not quite the same as a longer duration rally, but it's a fast pace. And when you think about the number of shots taken on the volley or off the bounce before the back wall, it's pretty even between the two guys. But in this rally, Macon changed the angle either with the hold or just hit the shot that Farag was not expecting because he was cheating or poaching 3 times and made Farag make 3 hard movements. So if you think about that, mentally, Farag cannot be settled because now he's not reading Macon super effectively because Macon is breaking patterns and he's doing something that he's not used to doing. So that is going to start putting a seed of doubt, and it's going to force Farag to hold his movement on the tee. And then from Farag's perspective on a physical side of things, he's now doing that much more work. You all know when someone holds and you have to make a start-stop movement, it takes a lot of toll on the legs. That's the other thing that Macon is now doing to Farag because of the holds. Okay, let's jump into rally 3. Now this rally is from game 2, mid-stage of the game. Farag is stepping up and volleying more than he was in the past. And you see the guys hitting their targets in the back, playing the defensive shots. See, there's another change of angle by Macon, so I'm going to rewind that for a second. So Farag gets the opening, shows the cross, and you see that's the deception side of it, where he opens up the body as he goes for the cross. Didn't really fool Macon, but that was a quality shot by Farag, putting good pressure on Macon. And then after that, look at Farag's initial movement, because the typical shot that a player would hit would be a defensive ball down the wall, and if it's slightly loose, Farag is hunting that. Macon instead goes for the boast, and look how far across Farag moves before he has to recover for that boast. Luckily, Macon's boast wasn't super tight, so Farag was able to recover effectively. And again, nice angles by Macon. That's a nice long attack. Missed that one, put under a bit of pressure. But he sees his width is good enough that he's not allowing Farag to step up and volley some of the opportunities that he may normally get against other players. It's good hunting by Farag. Nice change of pace by Macon. Reverses the pressure. There's a tight drop, forces a loose ball. And then again, another change of angle. So check this out. So off of that lob, I love lobs. I love it when lobs reverse the rally. Reverse pressure, Farag is just having to dig. Macon is already pushing up on the tee. He's almost on the tee itself, the physical tee. And then he sees that, he goes up. Farag has to move up on the tee a little bit because he knows he has to cover the front of the court. Macon plays a nice drop. Farag just gets it up, and this was awesome. See, normally Macon would be hitting the cross wider. This time he hits it right down the middle. Some deception on that shot, and Farag unable to retrieve that ball. I found that pretty cool. Now if you look at this rally's metrics, 47 seconds, 35 shots, similar pace to the last one I showed you guys at 22.5 ghosts or shots per minute. Again, an indication of the pace. If you want to go out there for 47 seconds and try to ghost 17 and a half shots, no, almost 16 and 3/4 shots approximately, just go and do 17 ghosts in 47 seconds and you'll get a sense of the pace that these guys are moving at. Now again, the shots taken on the volley or the bounce, even between the guys, but again, Macon had 2 shots in this rally, including the winning shot where he changed the angle and he caught Farag off guard. The thing that I want to emphasize here at the bottom of the screen that you see is that in this rally, Macon did do a lot of work. And again, if you want to beat good players, you have to be mentally prepared to put in all of that work. Whether you win or lose that rally, as long as you are putting some work into your opponent, you're causing some form of mental doubt, you're playing the way you want to play, even if you lose it, you have to be mentally okay with putting out a lot of output to win the game. So something to think about. And the reason I mention that is because some of the juniors that I train, if they don't like to put out that workload and that work level, They expect things to come easily, and they expect their opponent to suddenly crumble, but it doesn't happen. You have to be, and then actually, if they put in a lot of work and they lose the rally, they're shattered and they don't know what to do, and then it's a quick little crumble from there. So something to be mindful of, folks. Now the next rally I want to share with you guys is from the third and final game, and right there you see, even off the start, Macon serve. Where does he serve? Bodyline serve, forcing Farag to get out of the way. So again, just changing the pattern right off the cuff. And then from here, nice width, preventing the volley by Macon. Getting the ball nice. So again, volleying and hunting, taking the ball early and hitting his targets in the back corners. Nice long drop by Farag to change the pattern. More hunting by Macon. And soft hands to put that ball into the front court. So now if you look at this rally, it was a much shorter rally, only 23 seconds, 18 shots in it, the equivalent of 23 shots per minute. So again, if you want to go ghost that, you can go do a 23-second set and ghost about between 11 and 12 ghosts or shots in 23 seconds. Tell me how your legs feel after you try that. Now, if you think about the number of volleys by Macon versus Farag, Macon hit 2 volleys in that short rally versus Farag's 1, and Macon took the ball in short 3 times versus Farag's 2, and he also had that bodyline serve. So now he's breaking patterns, he's causing degrees of discomfort, he's being more aggressive on the volley, and he's being more aggressive in the front of the court. So again, it's all about marginal pressure, and that's when people start breaking down. The other thing I want to mention here is that if you look at Macon's cross courts, he was hitting his cross courts wide consistently because he knows that Farag likes to hunt across the middle of the court. So he knows he has to hit wide into the service box, so hit the sidewall in the middle of the service box, so that the angle is so sharp that Farag cannot reach it, and Farag is forced into the back of the court. So something to be mindful of. If you're playing an opponent that likes to volley a lot, make sure that you hit wide into the sidewall right in the middle of the service box, because they're not going to be able to cut that off. Now let's look at the other side of the equation. And this is what I was saying, where in order to beat Ali Farag, yeah, you have to be doing a lot of good stuff, but Ali Farag also has to be having a bad day. And what I noticed is that Farag's attacks were not very crisp in this match. And I think there were only a handful of shots where he won outright winners, where he outrightly won the point in the front of the court. And one of them was right at the end of the match as well, where he played a nice drop that rolled out a nick. But that was the only one I can think of where he actually finished the rally with that level of crispness. The other thing is that he had some poor shot selection at times. Not a lot, but from a guy who hardly ever hits the wrong shot, to see a handful of wrong shots was surprising, and it's an indication of that he wasn't playing his best squash. And the fact that almost on match ball, I think it was 14-14, I'm going to show you, Farag actually got caught by Macon's serve. Macon did a bodyline serve and it hit Farag's shoulder. That is almost unheard of, especially at that level. So it shows that either his mind was wandering, his focus is slightly off, like I don't know what it was, but all of those combined to me are indications that Farag was not having his best day. So let's check out some of these points that I've just mentioned to you. So here, I'm going to slow this down. Macon plays the drop. Farag has to cover some distance. Obviously his movement is fantastic, goes and gets it. But now look, normally a player of Farag's ability will know that, I mean, I didn't even draw the third one into this front left corner because Macon's already in the front of the court, but there's a big open space here, big open space in the back left, big open space in the back right. Farag's awareness is normally so high that he would feel and know that Macon is still right beside him in the front of the court. And you would think that Farag would hit into some open space in the back of the court. But Farag plays a little trickle boast. Macon wasn't going back. His momentum wasn't strong enough for Farag to catch Macon with that trickle boast. And as a result, Farag is now trapped in this front corner, and the exact same logic applies by Macon. He has the open court, especially in the back left, because if he hits across, Farag's in the way, but he has this back left corner of the open court. And where does he hit the ball? Exactly into that back left corner. And now you can see Farag's frustration. He's like, what the heck was that? I'll show you his frustration in real time. He's just like, what am I doing? What was that? Here is the serve that I was talking about. So check this out. And it actually hit his shoulder, and Farag is looking up to the heavens wondering what the heck just happened. And there it is, hits the shoulder. So, ladies and gentlemen, to me, to beat Ali Farag, he needs to be slightly off his game, and the opponent needs to be playing really, really well. And I think that's a testament to how amazing of a player Ali Farag truly is. You know, you need to be super accurate. You need to change the angles to get the ball off his volley. You need to hold the ball to break his movement and his patterns. You need to be doing so much and get some little freebies from him in order to beat the man himself. I hope you enjoyed this analysis and this reflection. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, share it with someone that you think will enjoy this, and leave a comment. The community that we're building on the channel is fantastic, and I think everyone's learning and growing together, and that's one of my primary goals by creating these videos. Guys, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.